we're able to serve folks, you have to know where our intent is, right? So you understanding where our motivations are, not just from the leadership, but also from each and every one of our staff is so critical. I'm really excited to really get to the celebrities, right, in the space. So I'm going to introduce some of our content and subject matter experts from some of our critical affiliate agencies, as well as from our Division of Housing and Community Resources. They're going to share some information. We want to leave room for questions. But let me first, I'll introduce in the order that they're going to present. And I just want to just say, too, I've worked with each and every single one of the folks that are going to present to you today for the last few years. These are people that really live and breathe this work. They love it. We are collective nerds about this space, so really you're going to hear a lot of great information, but they really care about hearing from all of you especially and making sure our services are getting better every day. So I want to make sure we introduce Assistant Commissioner Janel Winter, who's our director as well of the DCA's Division of Housing and Community Resources. She'll be followed by Jonathan Sternesky over here, who's our Director of Policy and External Affairs for New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. And then we're also going to hear from Oscar Parham, our Chief Strategy Officer for New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, and then Terrence Benthall, who is the Vice President of Business Development and Investment at NJRA. So please give these folks a warm welcome. First, we have Assistant Commissioner Winter.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much. Although, Kaya, I am actually very offended with you. I'm not a nerd. I just like to say things like, you know what, I love vouchers. Or, you know, the other day at my dad's house, I made everyone in there tell me how much they thought it cost to file an eviction, because I knew they'd all be wrong and guess too high, and they did. But that's just normal, everyone. But thank you all for being here today. At the Division of Housing and Community Resources, we also, as is a theme for DCA, we wear a lot of different hats. So we operate the state's rental assistance programs, and I'll talk a bit about them as we go on. Our affordable housing production programs. We also have the Office of Home Energy Assistance, and we paid the heating and cooling benefits for more than 270,000 households across the state this year. And we'll do the same next year. We're keeping people warm in the winter, cool in the summer, very important to us. We also have our Office of Homelessness Prevention. And as was mentioned, our celebrity guest, Dr. Michael Callahan, is here in the audience. Told him as I walked in that it used to be when I walked in the room, people were like, oh, Janelle, we're glad you're here. We want to talk with you. Now I walk in and they say, where's Mike? So watch that, Mike. We have our Office of Eviction Prevention, which is doing great and innovative work across the state in helping to divert evictions and keep people in their housing. We have community and also recreation services. Things people don't know we fund. We fund a lot of recreation programs across the state, including, if anyone has ever seen it, beep ball, which is baseball played by people who are blind or visually impaired. It's super cool, and you should look that up on the internet. I just got to see a game recently, so I'm super psyched. And we also have a new program, our data center. And again, aligned with what the state is doing, we are using our data center to both compile data across all of our programs, to use it to predict and forecast where we should be making investments and also what we might be seeing. You know, one of the things we recently were reading about is one of the ways you can predict homelessness. One of the first kind of predictors that a family might become homeless is missing a payment on their utility bill. Well, you know what we have in DCA? We have that Office of Home Energy Assistance where we're paying all of those utility bills. We know if people are current. So we can, through our data center, start matching and looking and seeing where trouble might be starting for people before they might even know it themselves. And so by doing things like this, we can reach upstream and work with people before they are in crisis. Here today, going to focus a lot on our housing programs. And so one segment of this are our funding programs for permanent affordable housing. And where we specialize at DCA, our sweet spot is what's kind of often called the missing middle housing. And so this is housing that's not super large apartment buildings. These are single family homes. These are duplexes, you know, owner occupied or not. These are townhome style. These are garden apartment buildings, 25 units or less. A lot of times when we talk to residents or municipalities about affordable housing, What they are picturing is a very large, maybe several hundred unit apartment building, and they think they know exactly what that looks like. And hey, we need projects of that scale, which are often very beautiful projects that we see these days across the state. But a lot of places say, we don't have anything like that in our town. Where will we put it? We can't do this. And so the message we have is, no, that's not what you have to build affordable housing. You can build what your residents need. Hey, somebody's parents are ready to move out of their home. They can't manage the steps anymore. They need something affordable they can move into. Your kids can't afford a home in your town. They're going to move to South Carolina. Do you want to spend all your time commuting to see your grandkids? Or do you want opportunities for them to live where they grew up? That's what these programs can help. And low and moderate income. So we're not only talking about people who are very poor, although we're absolutely providing housing opportunities there, but also people who are working middle-class jobs and find that in New Jersey the housing costs are just well beyond what they can afford. So we have a lot of opportunities there to fill in, both geographically, housing that fits in with what's going on in various municipalities, as well as on that income ladder. And we have federal programs. Our National Housing Trust Fund, this is a program that's perfect for groups that are interested in developing small-scale rental housing, or maybe are thinking they need that in their community, maybe this is a first project. These are dedicated for people who are making 30% or less of the area median income. These are very poor people. To make these projects work, we match them with project-based rental vouchers. So when someone moves into that apartment, they pay 30% of that income and the voucher pays the remainder so that the landlord can operate these buildings and keep them in good maintenance and good quality. So these are great application opportunities for folks who are serving people in that area or who are looking as an organization to maybe either get started or to grow in that area. Our home dollars. We focus our home dollars a lot on those small rentals and also on home ownership opportunities. Something really exciting that we are working on with our partners at the Department of Human Services, Medicaid, is our Healthy Homes Initiative. So what we're looking at here is they have, DHS has given us $100 million of their Medicaid funding. We are using that to help create capital housing, to help create the construction of housing that will serve Medicaid recipients who are at or below 20% of area median income. So that's someone who can afford $200 a month for rent. Where are they going to live? They can't live anywhere. But I got to tell you, as all of you know, there's a lot of people in that situation. We can use this funding to augment the projects we're already creating so that those folks are able to enter that. We also have a $19 million in additional home funding that we can use this year for new housing, new vouchers, capacity building, training for nonprofits, so stay tuned on that. We also have what people are often very interested in hearing from me about are our rental assistance programs. That was a perfect time to get a picture of me, by the way, guys. I shut up for a second. We have one of the largest Section 8 housing choice voucher programs in the country. I think we're number 13 of several hundred. We have our state rental assistance program. We have the Supportive Housing Connection, which is, again, a partnership with DHS, where we provide vouchers for people with mental health, addiction disorders, and people with developmental disabilities. And we also work with some of our counties to operate continuum of care voucher programs for people who are homeless. Altogether, among those programs, we are paying the rent every year for more than 40,000 households across the state. And then often people living in this housing, they require services. So if they're going to stay in this housing, we can't just say, here's a key, here's a voucher, good luck to you, see you later. We need to provide them services. We certainly partner with other groups, but we also, through our Office of Homelessness Prevention, our Community Services Block Grant, and I know some of our grantees are here in this room, the Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit, which we talked about earlier. We are working, again, with Medicaid to make sure that through the Medicaid waiver, people can have services that help them stay in housing, because housing improves your health. You're not going to get better, you're not going to stay healthy if you don't know where you're going to sleep. and our collaborations even more with DHS and DCF for those. So one of the things we're really focused on this year is new programs that we can look at to really bridge wealth disparity. So as I mentioned, we pay the rent for more than 40,000 households every month. And every year, we're paying for those rental vouchers almost $500 million. That's billion with a B. So whenever people say to me, like, well, how much would it cost to double your rental assistance? I'm like, well, sit down, and we'll tell you. But those are vouchers. We're paying those for rent for people. And what we see in the voucher program is more than half of our program families are Black. Their average income is about $21,000 a year. We're talking about people who are very poor. A full third, are female-headed families with minor children in the household. So, and I don't think any of this is a surprise to people. This is who we would expect to be living in and working in these programs. But what that means is we have a lot of people who are renting, but can't get a foot on that ladder. And you know how hard it is in New Jersey to do that and how important it is. One of the first things that I saw when I came to DCA was one of the issues we had to raise was there was a grandmother who was a voucher holder and she passed away. She had 2 adult grandchildren living with her. They each wanted the voucher to pay their ongoing rent. Who does the voucher go to? And I was like, wow, that's confusing. And the staff were like, oh, no, there's like case law and regulations about the situation. So there are some households where when an elder passes away, they're able to leave an asset, a house, a home, for their children, their grandchildren, so that they can buy their next home, so that they can pay for education. And there are some households who, when an elder passes away, they have to look for a state or a federal benefit to help them get along. And I think we all know many of the reasons behind these things, but how do we get off of that? And one of those ways is, hey, same to me, if I'm paying that rent to a landlord or a bank for a mortgage, costs me the same. So why can't we pay those mortgages? And the answer is we can. In the Section 8 program, people can use that rental assistance to pay mortgage payments on a new home. And when that is all over, they own that home. That's their home. They can do whatever they want with it. But we don't just have our Section 8 program. We also have our state rental assistance program. There's never been a homeownership component to this. Why not? What's the difference? Only difference is it's state funding, but hey, we're paying those state dollars anyway. I just as soon pay for somebody to have a house than rent, especially because it's not costing me any more money. But it's not as easy as just saying like, wham, let's just do it. So one is people don't have the money for that down payment, for that ongoing maintenance, for their other costs. In the past 3 months, my sewer pipe has had to be replaced on my land, and my hot water heater blew. There's additional costs to being a homeowner. So what we have is the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. This is one of my favorite programs that we have. It's a federal program, now it's going to be a state program. So for voucher holders, as they pay 30% of their income, as they make more money, their portion goes up, our portion that we pay to the landlord goes down. In FSS, families set some goals for what they want to do, and as their income goes up, that money goes in. I still pay the same rent for them to their landlord. That money goes in an escrow for them, and at the end of that time, they have a savings. They have a nest egg for what they want to do. At the end of 5 years, the average savings is about $9,000. So think about the difference that makes for a household that wants to move into a home. Maybe they qualify for a bunch of down payment programs. That'll help them. We can help them with the mortgage, and they have a nest egg for when their hot water heater goes, for when one of the many things that happens, because that's how people end up in situations where they lose their homes. Those unforeseen costs when you're living near the edge. The other is, how do you get a mortgage at a rate that you're going to be able to afford when you haven't ever had one? When you might have poor credit, when you might have, all of the things that come with living unaffordably. So our new homeownership program director is coming to us from a CDFI, has a great history in this, and she's going to be working to help make sure we can get the resources there. Because you know what? If we're paying a portion of that mortgage payment, the state's credit should go to part of what they look at as well, not just a personal credit. And the good news is our credit's looking pretty good lately. And then also, what are you going to buy? I think we all see this nowadays. Where are those homes? So through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, we are going to use those funds to create more affordable homeownership. Again, people think of affordable housing and we're creating it, they think rentals. No, we create a lot of affordable homeownership where we're setting those prices at what low and moderate income families can afford. We also recently, through the Innovation Fund of the Trust Fund, had a group that did a lot of training for groups in how to develop and market these affordable homeownership projects. So now all across the state, they can go and do this. So we see these homes coming online, we can match them with our voucher holders so that they will be able to save money, find a home that they can afford, move into that home, and continue building their wealth so that in the fullness of time, now their family, their children have grown up in a household that's homeowners. They haven't had to move. They've been able to be stable. Now they're not going to need to be on a rental assistance program in the future. They're going to be able to make the next step so that those families will now see their families doing what we all want for our children, moving ahead. Now we're going to hear from our partners at HMFA, where they'll talk about some of the resources that we're looking for people to be able to rely on too in terms of home ownership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Jonathan Sternesky, and I'm really excited to hear, according to Kaya, that I am both a celebrity and a nerd. So I'm with HMFA. We are the state's allocator of the federal low-income housing tax credit, which is utilized to incentivize private investment into affordable housing development. That comes in at the front end. So it creates an investment in these properties that reduces the capital costs that have to be borne by the development, so that there can be restricted rents throughout the life of the building. So that said, if you are working on a project and you are trying, 40 units or more, and you are trying to either rehabilitate it and recapture it so that its affordability is extended into decades into the future, or you're building new ones, just come talk to us. That said, I just want to kind of cover that in the context of the larger discussion about A4. But what we're really going to talk about today are actually our single-family programs, which are more more consumer-facing. So these are things that you'll be able to bring to your residents. So before I go forward, I would be remiss if I did not, highlight that over at the table there we have Jesse Crawford, our manager of marketing. He does road shows similar to this. He can do presentations if you want to host something, or he'll be moving on into the manager role. We'll have a new person doing that soon. So they'll be able to do these types of presentations for you at town hall or wherever, so we can try and reach your constituents so they have more information about these single-family programs. We also have handouts. Go see them. Given that most of our giveaways are already gone, I'm assuming many of you have already been there. So that said, we're going to talk first about some of our programs that are actually designed to help save people's homes, right? One of the things that we know, and it's come up a couple times both from the commissioner and from Janel, is that homeownership is a source of intergenerational wealth. And so when you are at, there is a risk of losing that. Oftentimes that could be a devastating thing for a family. So I just want to highlight that we have the Emergency Rescue Mortgage Assistance Program, which is funded out of federal dollars. And that is meant to help families cover delinquencies on their mortgages, property taxes, HOAs, and other liens, but they have to have resulted from a COVID-19 related hardship, which is part of the federal regulations. This assistance can take the form, I just want to make sure that they're moving over. This assistance can take the form of a one-time reinstatement. It could be also up to 4 months of prospective, payments on your mortgage or your housing costs, or it could be both. The key thing is it's up to a max of $75,000. So this is for people who are really struggling, who are at risk of losing their homes. We need, this is really meant to help save those properties and continue to have those homes be available, so the intergenerational wealth can be passed on to their children and descendants. To be eligible, you have to have had a hardship on or after January of 2020. That has to be, we have to be able to tie it to COVID, or at least a COVID-19 economic impact. The property has to be 1 or 4 units, 4 units or less, and the person has to live in the property. If it's an investment property, it is not eligible. So it has to be the owner occupied. And then according to the federal regulations, the maximum income is 150% of the area median income. That is also dependent on the size of your household. So, a 6-person household is going to be more, it's going to have a higher income max than a 1-person household. In Camden County, for a family of 4, you're looking at a max income of $141,750. So realistically, this is meant to help people all the way up to the middle class. If you're eligible, it is provided as a 3-year, 0% interest loan. So as long as you don't do a cash out refinance or sell the home in those first 3 years, the assistance is completely forgiven. If you do, you just pay it back at the sale. Going to keep going. So as of earlier this month, we have actually provided more than $200 million in assistance to more than 7,600 struggling families. And this has been operational for about 2 years at this point. And I really want to highlight this program and another program in a moment in this room, because Camden has actually, Camden County has represented more than 10% of the families that have been assisted through this program. If we look, this is a chart that's on our website. We have on our website under the information systems tab, there's a handful of different, charts you can do. One of them is on IRMA, and this is interactive. On our website, this is interactive, so you can go on our website, you can explore, take a look, you can really see who's benefiting, according to their income levels, their region, race, et cetera. Obviously, we want to make sure that this is aggregated in a point that nobody will ever be able to determine an individual's identity from looking at it, but at the aggregate, you can see really where this impact is and how it's been helping a lot of people. So that's our contact information. You can feel free to take a picture of that. But again, it's also very easy to reach out. 1-800-NJ-HOUSE is our website, and then halfservicing@njhmfa.gov. These are really the best ways to get to us about this. We have a dedicated call staff that is there 5 days a week. They'll be able to help you answer questions. We can also refer you to housing counselors who can help actually complete your applications. Speaking of which, we understand that not everyone is eligible for IRMA. We also understand that the circumstances of a person's struggles may vary wildly, and whether you live in a certain area or whether you have a certain income or whether you've experienced certain hardships can all really impact what type of programs you're eligible for through us or through other places. And we understand that if you've had a mortgage, if you've had a foreclosure filed against you, or it looks like you might have one coming soon, that is an extremely stressful situation for any person to be in, and you're already going to be at an emotionally heightened state. So how do you go about finding what's available to help you? So we've actually created a housing counseling initiative. It's a patchwork of a variety of different programs. We also have had legislative support to help finance this from state dollars and formalize and expand this program. We're really proud of it because it has helped more than 56,000 families over the last few years. This is just kind of the patchwork, as you can see on these charts, of different kind of programs that have been patched together as part of this. But the key thing is we have made this as simple as possible for someone who needs help. All they have to do is call 1-800-NJ-HOUSE or go to our website and look at the, go to foreclosure and counselors, look for a counselor that's working in your area, reach out to them, tell them the situation, start working, do the intake. We will work with the counselors on the back end to make sure that they're getting paid, that that the program is working in the right way. We've tried to streamline this, so we're doing most of the back end work, the counselor's doing most of the intake work, and the resident really only has to worry about getting in touch with them so that they can start working through what options are going to be available to them. So those are the I don't want to say those are the sad and stressful stuff, right? Like those are programs that are meant to help you when you're at your worst, you're at risk, there's a real possibility of you losing your home. We also can help you get a home. Come on, guys. I know. There we go. So over the last few years, since 2017, we've revamped our down payment assistance program and made this so that it is, so that what we know as actually just came up in the last presentation, getting that capital to purchase a home is extremely difficult. If you are trying to buy a home and, let's say $300,000, you want to put down a 5% payment, or 5% down payment, and then you add in some closing costs, you're already dealing with like $15,000, $20,000 down payments. It is really hard for a family to save that money, especially if you're paying rent every month or you have other costs, right? What our down payment assistance program does is it can provide between $10,000 and $22,000 of down payment. So it'll be attached at closing, and it essentially reduces those total down payment and closing costs that you have to come with. It is much more possible, much more feasible for a family to come with $5,000 to closing than $20,000. And that's really where this program comes in and has been extremely, extremely impactful. It is a 5-year, 0% interest loan. It's a secondary loan to our main program. We have our main mortgage product. So basically, all you have to do is work with one of our partner lenders. You enter one of our mortgage programs. I'll talk about those in just a moment. Also, Jesse has more information about those. But once you're deemed eligible, we underwrite the whole thing, and then at closing there'll be the $10,000 to $22,000, depending on your circumstance, will be attached at your closing. It's part of your closing documents, and you'll be able to get your first home. In Camden County, the base is $10,000, and if you are a first-generation home buyer, which is this is a new product, there's another $7,000 that'll be attached. To make it as simple as possible, certifying that you're a first-generation home buyer is as simple as checking a box. So determining you're eligible, checking a box, and then we underwrite everything from there. So we just want to make sure that, So again, it works as a secondary loan, and it's forgiven after 5 years as long as you stay in the house and don't refinance the mortgage in those 5-year period. You never have to pay it back. If you do refinance or you sell your house, then it's as simple as it gets paid back at closing. But in either circumstance, there's no interest taken whatsoever. Now, again, I want to cover this in Camden County because you guys are way overperforming the rest of the state. So since we revamped this in 2017, we have helped more than 12,000 families purchase their first homes. And quite honestly, Camden has been nearly a quarter of all of that. Camden County has accounted for nearly a quarter of all of that. Of the $132 million in direct assistance that's been provided, $30 million has been in Camden County. So and that's $30 million of home equity that's been entered in, and that doesn't include the fact that over that 7-year period, home values have nearly doubled in a lot of regions. So this is a very significant amount of equity that's been injected into people's families. The other thing I want to highlight, one of our charts. I'm not going to go into this, in significant detail. This is on our website. You can find it. This is interactive. You can search it. You can look. You can take a look and say, like, I just want to see what there was in 2019. I want to see 2019 to 2022 or whatever. I want to look at what was in Camden. So this just shows you kind of the context. This is with Camden clicked on, so you can see kind of what in the bar charts what Camden makes up as part of the entirety of our state production. The other thing I want to highlight is take a very quick look at the interest rate chart there. That's a statewide chart, but it's important to note because since 2020, our program's interest rates have been at or below market, partially because we've been buying them down, but they've been at or below market. So not only are participants under these programs able to show up with a very significant amount of their down payment covered, but over the life of the loan, they're going to have less costs because the interest rates are lower. And that is something that we are really proud of. Now, if you take a look at who this benefits, these programs are disproportionately, or actually one of the most equitable. This is one of the most equitable home buying products in the state of New Jersey. If you look at just simply a quick comparison between kind of what the state as a whole does when you're dealing with the percentages of the home buying populations are, in the state of New Jersey as a whole, and then you look at what this program does, it overperforms in underserved communities, particularly those Black and Hispanic communities are overrepresentative comparative to the rest of the lending market in New Jersey. So what we've seen from this is that as home prices increase and it becomes more difficult for families to be able to be competitive in this tightening market, this is a product that is actually saving people's ability to still compete and still purchase the homes that they need to do. In fact, I don't think it's on these anymore, but there was a period where there was over a 2-year period, a 20% reduction in the home buying market overall. And our program year over year also increased by 20%. So we actually increased our share of the whole market a very significant amount as it tightened, because more people more families needed this type of assistance to be able to compete. Again, these are the very early results from our first generation homebuyer product. This was only really launched towards the end of last year, so the numbers are not particularly high yet, but if you look at the early returns, it is even more equitable than the down payment assistance program. And I mean, that's not necessarily a surprise when you look at the demographics of who's been historically underserved in the housing market and the home ownership market. Well, this is a type of program that can help remediate and ameliorate some of those discrepancies. So also, as I mentioned, we have to have part of our first mortgage programs, these down payment assistance attached to that. So we have a wide variety of programs that we offer on our first mortgages. I'm not going to go into all of them, but we have government insured programs, first time home buyer programs, and actually a conventional mortgage product, all of which when you're a regular individual looking to buy a home, you don't actually have to know exactly which one you're eligible for or which one you're interested in going to. You just kind of take a look at, there's some just general parameters there about, incomes, et cetera, but you just have to get in touch with one of the partner lenders, and those are all on our website. Get in touch with our partner lenders. Find one you're comfortable with. Tell them you want to participate in the down payment assistance program, and as part of the underwriting process, they will be able to help determine which of our 4 mortgage products is actually going to be the most beneficial for that individual. So we're extremely proud of that. That's been really, really impactful. And then finally, as I mentioned before, since we are a financer of multifamily affordable housing construction, we are involved in single family affordable housing. We also have what's called the Housing Resource Center, which is quite simply, at its core, it's a database of available affordable housing units for sale and both for sale and rental. As part of A4, we are expecting that requirements are going to be implemented going forward, that every unit that is receiving credit under A4 will have to be posted there. So this is going to be a great resource when you're searching for housing in any way, shape, or form. Think of it almost like a Zillow for affordable housing. You can't necessarily apply on it, but it's going to tell you where everything is and who to contact to be able to get into those units. And so that is our presentation. I'll be around for questions at the end, as well as Jesse Crawford. So please make sure, just come chat with one of us if you have any questions, or if you want, schedule Jesse or our team to come and do one of these presentations for you at a different location. Thank you, and now turn it over to NJRA.
Hello, Camden. How are we doing today? My name is Oscar Parham. I am the Chief Strategy Officer at the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. How many are you familiar with NJRA? Can I see a show of hands? You've heard of us. Maybe you've done a few things with us. Well, hopefully today you'll walk away with a better understanding of what we do and what we can do for the community as a whole. So NJRA, we are a multi-million-dollar financing authority that was created back in 1997. But I want you to walk away today thinking 3 things when you think about NJRA. We are urban focused, we are neighborhood based, and we are investment driven. The vision at NJRA is to become the premier catalyst for investments that create sustainable growth in our urban communities. So you're probably wondering, what is an authority? What governs us as an authority? We're established through the New Jersey State Constitution. We say we're in but not of the State Department. We're not subject to supervision, but we're governed by a board. and we can receive allocations. And a few examples of independent financing authorities are the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, as well as New Jersey Economic Development Authority. So how do municipalities become eligible? There is, pursuant to NJRA's bylaws, a municipality must receive the designation of an empowerment neighborhood. Once that designation is given to a municipality, it allows us to offer our financial products and services, which Terrence Benthall, our VP of Business Development and Investment, is going to tell you a little bit more about that. And I think we should see Camden up here. So these are the eligible, these are 68 eligible communities and municipalities in New Jersey out of the 564 that are mentioned that we can offer our financial products and services. And if you need to get a hold of this list, you can go to our website at njra.us. So here's one of my sweet spots that I love, is a training institute. And so, as I mentioned, we went into operation in 1997, and if you notice on the slide up here, it says 2006. Our President and CEO, Leslie A. Anderson, identified that there was a need and an opportunity within this world that we call real estate and redevelopment to educate our municipal officials, our attorneys, as well as our developers about what is real estate and redevelopment. And how many people here have seen the process map for real estate and redevelopment? Have you seen how large it is? It's pretty extensive. So when you think about real estate and redevelopment, it's everything from I've got a concept to putting together the capital stack, feasibility studies, dealing with environmental issues. There's a whole legal structure that goes involved. So it's pretty extensive when you think about the real estate and redevelopment process map. And so what we do at the Training Institute is we train individuals like yourself, as well as train individuals like yourself who are interested in understanding real estate and redevelopment. We ask you to come out and speak and share your expertise over, in the course of a year, we'll put together about 8 or 9 courses specifically in that space of real estate and redevelopment. And what do we talk about? We talk about putting together the capital stack. How do you structure capital stack? We talk about what is the municipal land use law? We talk about what is tax abatements, what is LIHTC, and so we put together these courses that we offer to the general public that specifically talk about these topics, so we can educate you on that areas of real estate and redevelopment. We're nationally recognized, and so I'm always amazed when we have our workshops, the individuals that come out of from New Jersey, state of New Jersey, that come and attend our workshops, and we're regionally accredited, so we offer CM credits for our planners, and we also offer for our attorneys out here legal credits as well. So you can come and get your learning units as well. I mentioned the diverse range of courses we offer, and our sweet spot that we love to do is our municipal and our customizable training. So our municipal consultations is where, for example, you've got a municipality who has a particular project that they're interested in, and they've got some concerns about zoning. And what are the things they can and can't do within an aspect. We'll sit down in a very intimate environment at a location based on your needs, and we'll put together an actual program to address your concern. The customizable training that you see up there, that's more so if you've got a group of individuals that potentially are new to the Economic Council or new to zoning, we'll actually put together a customizable training where we'll bring experts out and create a program specifically at your location to help you understand a little bit more about, for example, tax abatements. And then we realized in 2023, we started our small business initiative. We realized during COVID, as we look back and we talk about the world of real estate and redevelopment, the small business community is a key indicator in the vibrancy and success and sustainability of a lot of communities. And so in 2023, we started to put together training workshops specifically talking about small business. How do you do marketing? How do you do funding? How do you create sustainability? We actually have a workshop coming up in August, and we've got 2 workshops coming up in October that I can make that information available to you as well. And at this time, without stealing his thunder, I'm going to have Terrence Benthall, our VP of Business Development and Investments, to come up and tell you a little bit more about some of our products and services.
Hi, Camden. How you guys doing? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the results that we have here, which we want Camden to then become a part of this. We have spent over $400 million in direct investments, which has basically created a capital market space of $3.8 billion total investments. I'm gonna come back to the 418 in a minute when I start discussing products, which give us basically a 1-to-9 ratio, which is 9x. So if you take the 400 million and capitalize it into the 3.8 billion, that's what our effect has been and results has been. And it's over the course of 266 projects. It's created housing units over 15,000, and there has been 10 million square feet of commercial space that we have been a part of, and created over 1,500 jobs. It's kind of hard to hear you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to repeat everything, all right? So, as I said before in the beginning, that we have spent over 400 million of direct investment dollars, which has basically catapulted into 3.8 billion of capital market space, which we contributed to, which is basically a 1-to-9 ratio of dollars when we do a direct investment, and then which has contributed to 266 projects, 15,000 total housing units, 10 million square feet of commercial space, and 1,500 jobs. So with that being said, and these are the products that we utilize in order to get there. I'll begin with the urban site acquisition, which basically, if anyone is familiar with development, you have one of the most challenging things is for a developer to begin, which it starts out with the acquisition and the soft costs. And we have a product that we heavily utilize, which create that space and help developers meet that challenge. Just 2 weeks ago, I was here in Camden, which I'm happy to be here, and I was speaking to Kara earlier today. Earlier, I was just here. I'm excited to be here, and I think there's a lot of opportunity here that we can contribute here and add value here in Camden. With that product, we help developers acquire the land, and also we provide them soft costs as well. So that's one product that I really like, and we utilized it a lot. And going back to what I said before, part of that 400 million of direct investment that we contribute, that's where our dollars are, and that's how it helps the developers create their capital stack, which trickles into that almost $4 billion of capital stack that was previously discussed. So if you take here that 400 million, a lot of that may do. Our slogan is "We are there first." So if you take that 400 million, we are there first, which helps developers and commercial developers to create their capital stack. So we help them in the initial stages of acquiring and paying for that soft cost, which materialize into that $4 billion. So that's one product that I really like. And then we had a redevelopment investment fund, which we have a little flexibility there too as far as terms. We can do construction with that, no acquisition. We can do construction, repositioning of property, commercial space, along and connected with real estate and commercial space and residential as well. So we have flexibility there. And one of our major large products, which we help when there's large projects, we can act as a conduit for bond financing, which is really attractive because then we can extend the terms even out to 40 years. And also our rate is favorable because by being a tax-exempt bond, we can provide favorable rates with that. And we can go to a different genres of business, which is commercial real estate, schools, healthcare facilities, and et cetera. So these are the products that we use to utilize to establish our presence within the urban centers which we serve. These are the personalities here, which we are led by our esteemed leader, Mr. Leslie Anderson, who is our president CEO. Then Mr. Doug Goffrey, which is the Chief Operating Officer, who's my direct report. and then we have Oscar Parham, of course, and then me, myself. So I just want to add that I'm so happy to be here today because Camden has been on my radar. I'm not as seasoned as Oscar and a lot of other players that's here. I've only been part of NJRA for a little more than a year. And I would tell you, for the value that we add to communities, the economic change that we create with housing, et cetera, it's one of the most pleasurable things that I've done in my entire career. I tell you that. And I come from private sector, and this is the most happiest I've ever been. And so y'all, so Oscar don't always agree with that every day, but it's true. And I will say, as I said for here, I was here 2 weeks ago, and as someone that's going to, I'm just explaining how things work. It's a public-private partnership, right? They trying to acquire some parcels of land, right? Which this USA product that I was speaking of. And we're assisting them acquire the land, to acquire the property. We're gonna help them with soft costs, et cetera, et cetera. And it's multiple parcels of land. And these are people now who have basically been renters their whole life, are now gonna have homes. You understand me? So that's just an avenue of it. And what I'm saying is, I want the collaboration. We want to establish our presence here. I thank Carol for inviting me, and the Commissioner Suárez for inviting me as well, so we can get things started. And you have my information here. Just contact me, and we get things started. We have to have a conversation, and we can begin to initiate things. And we're here, and we're here to stay. So, all right.